What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar. Today we're going to talk about the DXY. I'm going to try to not go off. I tried making this video already and I went off a little bit, so I'm going to try to not go off. Let's look at the charts. Let's look at the charts for the DXY. Right now, on a weekly time frame, we'll bump it down. Let's start with the daily. Daily time frame, RSI is really strong, very, very strong. It's beautiful. It's not too hot right now. It's actually cooled off a little bit, but it's strong, man. This is a very strong RSI. And it would not surprise me if we held this line, actually, and we bounced higher. We're in some very strong reads right now. I like the look of this. If we look at it from a price action standpoint, you can see here on the low, we did double bottom. We have this kind of nice like V here and a U here. They call that an Adam and Eve, right? You can see it, the V and the curve, Adam and Eve. It's a classic bottoming formation. The DXY, by the way, that's what we're looking at, DXY. If you type it in, I use the first one here. It's on TradingView. It's the US dollar index. This measures like not the price of the dollar. The dollar's not worth 104. That's why there's no volume. People don't trade it. This is just an index based on every currency in the world and denominating the dollar's value based on those currencies. And whatever 104 means, I don't know. It just that's just the rating it gets. On a weekly time frame, actually, I don't know if I'm done with the daily yet. Let's go back to the daily. On the daily time frame, we just got above the 50 on this long-term RSI. After checking it as resistance and confirming that it was not, we're above the purple line here. If we look at the purple line, we were sloped down, and now we're starting to lose that slope. We're still sloped down, but we're starting to bend to an upward position. Pair that with the fact that this RSI is strong, this RSI is above the 50, price is above the purple line. This, to me, is the perfect storm for a change in trend. And we've been in a downtrend since September of 2022. It's been in a downtrend for sure. And this could be this is the beginning, in my opinion, of a new uptrend. And once we get above this high here, and we've formed, a low and a higher high, I think it'll be confirmed at that point that we're in an uptrend. But all these readings to me tell me we are shifting trend right now. The price action, you can see it. We're shifting trend right now. This is a good looking chart. I'm bullish on the dollar. Definitely bullish on the dollar. Weekly time frame, we're above the 50 here. We've got hidden bearish divergence, higher highs here, lower highs here. It is hidden bearish divergence showing, but we've got 3 days left in this week. There could be, that's enough time for this to close green. If this week closes green, if we just keep going past these highs here on a closing basis at least, this hidden bearish divergence could be invalidated. And I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. We're in a strong posture on the daily and a strong posture on the weekly. We actually have regular bullish divergence on the weekly. You can see it here. Low, higher low, low, lower low. It double bottomed on the wicks, but the candle bodies is what I'm talking about when I'm bringing up these lows, because that's what these are based off. It's based off the closing basis on these candles. The body indicates the closing basis for red at the bottom. The green is at the top, right? That's the closing basis. The wicks are just where it went in between. So playing off this bullish divergence, having this little pop, I don't think it's done yet. I think it is going to go higher. I think we have this little W forming. For sure we have this little W forming. And normally W's are very bullish formations. They're either bottoms, continuation patterns, tops. It can be top, it can be a bearish formation. If this W doesn't at least, if this end doesn't get at least back up to here where it kind of started, like if we don't get a higher W, then this would, if it petered out like around here, for example, it went above this high, but it petered out, this would be a bearish W. And arguably, this W could have started all the way back up here. So really, the price needs to get above there. We'll see. We'll see. That's probably months away. We're looking at the weekly time frame. We are above the 50 on the long-term RSI. We're above the purple line. The purple line is postured in a good way. This looks bullish to me. Definitely looks bullish to me. If we're looking at taking some fibs here, from bottom to high, we bounced we bounced right off the 0.5 level. That's beautiful, man. That doesn't happen often, but when you find significance at the 0.5, you get significant moves. And I very much, just from looking at that fib alone, I would expect to see extensions off of this fib, and extensions meaning up here, 118 to 124. These are prices, these are valuations for the dollar that haven't been seen since, I mean, like 2 decades ago. Like since back here, since 2001. We haven't seen valuations that high since 2001. And to be fair with the dollar, I know everyone's all bearish on the dollar right now. This is when I went off. I was talking about the dollar. It's not bearish. We've been in a bull trend since 2008. Since the housing market crash, we've been in a bull trend. And I think this is just continuation of that trend. I really do think that we're just in a continuation of that trend. And it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if we went, to these extensions, at least to the 1272 or the 1618. But it wouldn't surprise me if we continued to go on higher. Maybe we pitter around up here like we did here for a year or two, and then we continue higher. But right now, as of right now, for the short term, for the next year, I'm definitely bullish on the dollar. We got a nice bounce off of the monthly 123 as well. I mean, 123, what would that be on a monthly time? That's basically 10 years. The 123 on a monthly time frame is basically an average of 10 years, let alone the spiritual fact that it's a 123, the go-ahead. But, man, the RSI, it's above the 50 here. This looks good. This RSI is bouncing right off the 50. This looks really good, man. The dollar is bullish. I know that there's a narrative being pushed around that the dollar is going to go to zero. We're going to experience hyperinflation. That's not true. It's just not true. It really isn't true. This chart says it all. There's a good old saying in the chart world that says, show me the charts and I'll tell you the news. And I believe that here. That I know that there's a narrative being pushed around in the media that the dollar is losing its value. It's going to lose its position as the global currency, the global reserve currency. I really don't believe that. I really don't believe that at all. I'm going to try to not get into why I don't believe that. Maybe I'll make another video as to why I don't believe that. But for now, I just want to talk about the dollar itself. Let's go to a 3-month time frame. Holding the 123 on the 3-month time frame, double time. That's great. Good bullish posturing for this RSI here. We're looking to get above the 50. I think we're going to get above the 50. All bullish things, man. All very bullish things. Wow. And I mean, if you really want to look at it, we're kind of potentially, maybe not. Maybe this is a stretch here, but this could be a very giant like W pattern in itself, which this would put it at prices way higher than what I was just talking about. By the way, for Bitcoin or for the dollar to go where I was talking about going, from bottom to low, for it to go to 118, that would be an 18% pump in like the next year and a half. That's dramatic for the dollar to pump that much on a valuation compared to every other currency in the world. That's significant, man. That's very significant. And in the midst of everybody being bearish on the dollar, saying it's going to be worth nothing, I don't see it happening. This chart looks good. Daily, weekly, 3-month, monthly, they all look good. What's the 6-month look like? 6-month, very bullish RSI, very good looking RSI. This candle is not bullish, to be fair. The last time we had candles like this was in the middle of an uptrend, though. The last time we had a candle that looked just like this, like literally identical, I can't find another one that's identical to that. Maybe this one here. And then, this was toward the bottom. But the last time we had one that looked anything like the most comparable one, in my opinion, would be this one. Or one of these. And this, the preceding 6-month candles that followed were dramatically to the upside. So I'm not too worried about this right now. Things can be faked out, We had a little one kind of comparable to this, but it was a green one. Went down and then came up. Higher highs, I like this RSI. I really think, you're in the bullish control zone, showing bullish things, getting higher highs, higher lows. I do think this looks good. And on a yearly time frame, bouncing off the 50 in the bullish area of the RSI. That's really good. You do want to see that. This to me, man, it just looks like the beginning of an uptrend. It really does. It really truthfully does. If we measure from top to bottom here, I mean, we broke through that 618 pretty easily. We came back, tested the 0.5 as support, which isn't common, but we're above the 618 again. We hit the 886. I think we're just stair-stepping our way. I do think if I was looking at this chart from any other time frame, I would say that we want to hit these extensions. And the extension's at 140, which I was just talking about before. The minimum extension at the 1272 is at 140. Maybe we go to 168. That's really close to this high. It would take years. This is the yearly time frame. This is stuff that I'm talking about would take at least a decade to achieve, if not half a decade to achieve. But this looks bullish, man. I'm not bearish on the dollar. I think anybody who's bearish on the dollar, they're just listening to the media and buying the narrative that everyone's pushing. I'm not going to get into it too much, but I do want to say, if you have heard recently that, like I've heard the past like month and a half to 2 months now, that the dollar, it's going to hyperinflate. The U.S. is the next Venezuela. We're the next Turkish lira. We're going to become a third world country. The dollar's going to zero. If any of these have stood out to you, and you yourself are a mouthpiece saying this, or have heard other mouthpieces saying this, and you're just basically re-expressing the same stuff, the same narrative that you're hearing in the media, it's really easy to be convicted in your beliefs when everybody's saying the same thing and nobody's there to prove you wrong. But take a second, look at what the charts are telling you, look at what the dollar's actually doing, and also beyond all of that, just think in your head, where'd you hear this information from? Where'd you hear the information that the dollar is going to go to zero, that it's going to drop, that we should all abandon the dollar because the world's going to abandon it because it's not going to be the world reserve currency anymore? Where'd you hear all this from? I would bet most of you watching this heard that from some form of mainstream media, whether it be the news, whether it be someone who watches the news, maybe some voice on TikTok or whatever. You've heard it from some main source of media. My question, after that question, after you answer that question within yourself, where'd you hear it from? My question to you then to ask yourself would be, what is the purpose of buying into this narrative? There's potentially more than two, but there's two real purposes that I can think of. The first one, the people in control of the media want to push this narrative out so that the masses who watch it are better informed, can make better decisions to preserve their wealth, and they're just trying to be helpful so that people don't make mistakes and don't stay in the dollar while it goes to zero, and they just want you to invest in things that could go up, and they want to see your financial success. That's the first possibility. To me, I just feel like I'm lying out of my mouth whenever I say that. I don't buy that at all. I don't buy that the media is on the masses side at all. Or two, this is the one that I biasedly believe in, is that they're telling us this to make us believe the dollar is going to be worth zero, because the dollar. By the way, the dollar is not going to be worth zero. It's going to maintain its value. It loses value every year. It's an inflationary currency, of course. Against itself, it loses value, but against every other currency in the world, or at least most of them, it's been gaining value. It is a valuable thing to have. 70% of the world reserves are in the dollar. Most, if not all, wealthy people probably have most of their paper assets are probably in dollars, not in other currencies. Unless you're like a high political figure, but I would bet most rich people in the world they have most of their bank is compiled of U.S. dollars for sure, or assets that are traded in U.S. commodities and stocks. But my question is, or my reality is too, the second reality, if the first reality is that it's there to help, long story short, the second reality is that the narrative is being pushed that the dollar is going to zero because they want to hurt, not to help, but to hurt. And maybe it helps them, maybe it hurts us, maybe it doesn't help anybody, I don't know. But my theory is that, and I'm going to try to keep it brief, is that this narrative is being pushed so that people are more encouraged to buy real estate, to buy hard assets, to buy crypto, stocks, gold, silver, whatever, commodities, to invest it in things. And that we are about to experience one of the worst economic recessions, and the markets are going to dump really hard, and we're going to experience this. So one of the worst things that we've experienced in over 100 years, or about 100 years, and nobody's going to have any cash to support themselves. They're going to have to sell their assets that they just sold their cash for. They're going to have to sell it, and nobody's going to want to buy those assets because everyone's going to, they're going to be holding on to their money to support themselves. So you're going to have to sell your assets for cheaper than you bought them for. That's, I think that's coming. And I think that, there's very real potential that bank runs could happen, in which case your dollar would be very valuable in physical form. It wouldn't lose value; it'd be very valuable. But I really do think that this narrative is being pushed out to encourage people to invest their money, and your money's not safe when it's invested. A lot of people think there's this romantic idea that your money's safe when it's invested. It's not. It's the most safe when it's locked up in a safe. It's and you've got it. It's not going anywhere. You put it in any asset in the world, it has the potential to go up a lot. It has the potential to go down a lot. And if we're in the middle of an economic world recession, you are going to lose a lot of value if you took all your dollars and you put them in here at not at the DXY, but like in Dogecoin, in Bitcoin, in name your stock, name your real estate market, whatever. Things have never been easier to invest than they are right now. You can even buy fractions of property or fractions of real estate. You don't even have to buy the whole thing. You can buy fractions of it just to invest for investors' sake. We've never had a more encourageable market for investing than we do now. And the narrative is not saying invest your money. They're not saying that, but they're implying that. And when I say they, I'm talking about the media, the ominous they. They're implying that you should get rid of your dollar whenever you hear things like the dollar's going to zero. It's going to experience hyperinflation. The U.S. is going to become the next Venezuela. So the natural logical thought would be, get rid of my dollars. Let me get into something else. The dollar's probably the safest currency on the planet. The whole time that currency, I'm not saying the safest asset, but currency. The whole time that this last month has been going on, since the beginning of May, the dollar's been gaining value against world currencies dramatically. It lost some value here very slowly, but it gained dramatically faster than it lost. All while the media is saying the dollar's going to zero. All while we have this double bottom off of bullish divergence on the monthly time frame. We bounced off this 123 last time, and we double bottomed. We're bouncing off the 50 now on the RSI. Things look like the dollar looks like it wants to gain 18% in value, if anything. And we've cut back inflation a lot. Biden has cut back some inflation. It's the worst inflation that's ever been. I think Biden did a horrible job with his term in presidency. I think he might be one of the worst presidents, if not the worst president that the United States has ever had. This is not a political thing. I'm not right. I'm not left. I'm just me, man, and I'm an American, and I don't want to see other American people lose their money, lose their asses, lose their life savings because they think they're being smart by investing in things right now. When clearly the dollar is about to show strength, is showing strength, and the media is talking it down. And again, when you hear stuff like that, I'm just going to finish it with this. When you hear the media talking about things, they're putting it out because they want to share that information. So your question should be, why do they want to share it? What's the purpose of it? What's the purpose of me hearing the narrative that the dollar is going to be worth zero, that we're going to be the next Venezuela Bolivar, that we're going to be the next Turkish lira, that the dollar is going to hyperinflate? What's the purpose of that? It's either they want to be helpful and they want to protect the masses, they want to preserve the masses' wealth, which I just feel like I'm lying. It feels dirty coming out of my mouth. It doesn't sound right. Or they want to trick the masses. They want to make you think your dollars are safe in these assets, these not real assets, these digital paper, hard assets, whatever, any kind of asset at all, that is very volatile and can be very volatile, and everything's at the top points that it's been in a very long time. You hear things, I've heard things recently like, the NASDAQ is going to go to new highs. It's not there yet, but there's a lot of optimism in the stock markets that we're in a bull market again. There's a lot of optimism in crypto that we're in a bull market again. There's a lot of optimism in real estate that it can't be stopped, and we are starting to see some of the real estate market buckle, don't get me wrong. But in the midst of all this, you think it's a good time to get in? I don't think it's the best time to get in is when nobody wants to get in. That's the best time to get in. When everybody thinks that it's a good time to get in, it's normally not a good time. Leave alone the fact that the dollar looks very bullish, and historically when the dollar does good, assets don't do as well. They tend to perform best whenever the dollar does bad. Not always. In fact, in this rally here, Bitcoin had its last bull market in the rally that, or maybe not actually. November 2021 was when Bitcoin topped in its last bull market, and the dollar went on a run. You know, we've had a bull market starting now for the past few months in Bitcoin while the dollar took a crap. So, you know, maybe Bitcoin does actually go down as the dollar goes up. And not just Bitcoin, other assets too. The S&P 500. Let's put it on here before I go. Let's put it on here. Let's do it. SPX, S&P 500 right here. You know, it's on the log. Let's see. Oof. I wonder if I can move it to a different time frame. I'm going to delete this one. I'm going to delete it and see if I can redo this. I just did that kind of quickly. There we go. Same new price scale. There we go. So that way I can kind of maneuver it a little bit. Yeah. Coincidentally, the bottom of the S&P was the top of the dollar, right? And now they're at this bottoming part. Could this be another top for the S&P? If we were to take a fib, a quick little fib on a closing basis here, you know, that doesn't really say much. I mean, we could be rejecting the 50 if things take a turn for the worse. We only have a day left in this month though, so I doubt that. But you know, look here, topping point for the dollar, bottoming point for the S&P, bottoming point for the dollar, around the top of the S&P. It really, you know, whenever it started to really take off here, like it like, you know, got these bigger moves, that's when the S&P dumped. You know, the dollar here and the S&P kind of moved together upwards. You know, that happened for sure. It's not always like so cut and dry as the dollar's going up so the S&P has to go down. But, you know, bottom here, local top here, local bottom here. Like, it's pretty obvious that if the dollar gains value, assets are going to lose value. If the dollar loses value, assets are going to gain value. I feel like it's not a hard thing to deduce. Again, low point in the S&P, high point in the dollar, right? High point in the dollar, low point in the S&P. Even though the dollar went sideways, the S&P was going higher. That doesn't change the fact that its low points happened when the dollar went on a run. And that's exactly what I'm trying to say right now is I think the media is pushing this narrative that the dollar is going to go down when really it's quite the opposite. It's going to go up, and all these assets that you might be enticed to buy are going to go down. So that's basically it. This video was originally supposed to just be about the DXY and my position on it, which is bullish, very bullish. This is a very good looking chart. It might be the best looking chart that I've seen in a while, actually. Very good looking chart. It wants to go to 118, if not 124, if not 140. It wants to go higher. Who knows? It's going to take months. It's going to take years to get there. This is a very slow moving chart, you know, being that it's the world reserve currency. It should be. You don't want to see dramatic moves in the world reserve currency, of course. Not in a short amount of time, but I'm bullish. I'm very bullish on this chart. Definitely very bullish on this chart. Contrary to what the media would have you believe, I'm very bullish on the dollar. And if you're one of those people who thinks that the dollar is bearish, just ask yourself, where did I hear that information? Where did I hear it? And if it's from the mainstream media, maybe think, okay, I should do my own research. And that's what you're doing right now, watching this video. You're doing your own research, you know. I'm not some expert. I'm not some pro. I'm looking at the charts. I'm telling you what I read in the charts. I know how to read charts, but I don't know how money works altogether, you know. I'm not some financial guru. But maybe this video, if you're someone who thinks the dollar's going to zero, maybe this video will encourage you to look up if that is indeed the case, if that's actually going to happen, which I don't believe it's going to. So anyways, I'm done talking about it. If you like the video, leave a like, leave a subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at ChrisHarris85. Follow me on TikTok at ChrisHarris45. Those are me. And yeah, if you want to see more stuff, I post on Twitter all the time. I like to post on YouTube all the time too. So you're really at the main points. TikTok's my least one, but I really should post more on TikTok. I get more views on there anyways. So anyways, that's all I got for you guys. Take care. Don't sell your dollars, man. This is not financial advice. This is just like a public service announcement. Don't sell your dollars. It might be a good idea to just sit on them. Sit on your dollars. Wait for things to get bad in the markets, and then invest. That's a smarter move. But you know, don't take my word for it. Do your own decisions. Make your own decisions. Look up your own charts and stuff. Yada yada yada. Have a good day, everybody. Thank you for watching. Bye bye now.